Hi everyone, Lori Whitlock here. I have some Lightbox projects that I wanted to share with you today. You can get the cutting files at the Silhouette Design Store and in my shop at shop.loriwhitlock.com in SVG format. And I've gone ahead and cut out all the pieces here in front of me, and I'm going to show you how to assemble this project. You're going to see a couple of inserts that have decorative, intricate cutouts in them. So I'm going to go ahead and set those aside for just a minute. And we've got a piece of vellum, and I've labeled these in the file. You've got a piece of vellum you'll be cutting and a piece of acetate. And for the acetate, I'm just using a collection kit cover from some scrapbooking paper. You can use whatever you'd like, but some packaging possibly, that works really well for the acetate. There's 4 of these frame pieces, and then there's some long pieces like this to form the sides of our frame. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and move a couple of these frame pieces out of the way, and we're going to work with the front and the back frame and then the side pieces right now. And you'll notice the side pieces, there's 2 sets of them. There's a shorter set and a longer set, and the longer 2 go together and the shorter 2 go together. And if you get confused which pieces go where, you'll notice on the frame you can line up the outer pieces will fit. If you line that right up along this edge, you'll notice that from the score line to the end of the paper, that matches the outer piece of this frame. I believe that's 6 inches. Okay, and then this one matches this side, and then the longest piece matches the outer edge of the frame. And I'll just line that up on top here. But you can see from this score line all the way to the end of the piece matches the outer part of the frame. And then these inner pieces are going to go on the inside of the frame. So you'll be able to line those up and match the length on those to the inside of the frame. So from there to there. Okay, so we're going to take the inner pieces and put those together first. So I'm going to set the outer pieces off to the side for a minute. Now to assemble the inner pieces, you're going to line up a large or a long piece, and then a small piece, short piece, and then a long piece, and then another short piece. So we'll put those in a long line to form one long piece. So I'll go ahead and put a little adhesive here on the glue tab, and then I'm going to just butt up its next door neighbor right to that score line, making sure that it lines up just right. That'll keep your frame nice and square. Don't make it extra long, just make sure it goes right up to that score line. And actually, if it helps you to go ahead and fold that, feel free to go ahead and fold that so you can see it better. So if you've put together any of my shadow boxes, this is assembled basically the same way. But with this shadow box, I have given you some embellishments to turn it into a cool light box with a cool effect. Okay, so again, you can fold that if it helps you get that lined up better. And then we'll put the last one on here. Now, when you're putting together this frame, you don't want your glue tabs to show from the inside of your project, if that makes sense. On the frame, you don't want to see these glue tabs. So make sure when you're folding these, we're going to be folding where there's a nice clean, because remember this is the inside of our frame. We're going to fold it where the clean side is towards the inside, and all those glue tabs will be on the outside. And we're going to be folding all of these side panels to the same direction that the glue tabs are in. So these glue tabs here on the side are going to face the glue tabs that are on the inside here. And I'll show you how this is all going to come together here in just a second. That way all the messiness is towards this outside, and we can glue this glue tab, and make sure when you glue this, you don't glue it in here, because then you'll see this on the inside of your frame. You don't want to see that. So we're going to glue that to the outside, and then it'll be a nice clean inside of your frame. So let's go ahead and put a little glue here on this tab. And it's better to just kind of fold it all up the way it's supposed to go so you can visualize exactly where that's supposed to go. Okay, so once that's dried, we're ready to go ahead and put this on put our face frame on our frame. So here's our front of our frame. We'll go ahead and put that down. So go ahead and put some glue on these 4 sides. Okay, once you have that done, the main thing is go to those corners and make sure the corner of your frame matches the corner on those sides. And you'll want to line that up gently. Make sure everything is lining up the way you want it. And then once you've done that, just flip it over and give it a good press. And you can see from this side as well that all those are lining up right where they should. So once you have that glued down, we're ready to work on the back side. So you'll flip that over and go ahead and put the other face frame on the back side in the same exact manner. So go ahead and put some adhesive on these panels. Again, just line those corners up. That's the most critical, then everything else will fall in place. And you can see how our frame is starting to take shape. And I would say, if you're wondering what kind of cardstock to cut this project out of, I highly recommend like an 80-pound or 100-pound cardstock for a nice, firm, good project. So that a frame that'll be sturdy and hold its shape. Okay, I'm going to set that off to the side and we're going to go ahead and put together the outer pieces. So again, we're going to line up a long piece and then a short piece and then a long piece. And you're putting that flat side against up to a glue tab. Just line those up just the way you should. And then go ahead and put some adhesive on that glue tab. And you can glue it to its neighbor. And we can go ahead and fold that so we can line things up if that helps as well. And they should line up exactly on those corner angles if you choose to fold that and glue them together that way. I actually think that really helps line them up, so I recommend doing that. Okay, and then we have one more to attach, and that's going to be our shorter one. Okay, so now we need to kind of visualize how this is going to go on our frame. I'm a very visual person, so I like, on this one, I don't want those glue tabs to show on the outside of the frame. So I want to make sure that they're hidden on the inside. So make sure those are on the inside. So that means our glue tabs, again, are going to go towards those and they'll glue in. So your glue tabs are all going to be on one side of what you're working on here. You might want to grab a bone folder. These are such long pieces, kind of helps get a good crease on those. Sorry, this project is so long. It's hard to probably see everything. Hopefully you're catching on. Okay. So now we have this last glue tab here, but I think what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and glue each side in place and then we'll glue that glue tab in very last. So let's go ahead and put some adhesive on this first glue tab, and this is one of the short sides, so I'm just going to go ahead and line that up And it's really critical that you put this in the right position to get it started. Just make sure those folds come right to the corners of the face frame. And then just get your fingers in there. You can even kind of open that up and push down on the table if that helps. Okay, we're kind of getting it started is a little bit of a trick. Okay, now we're just going to turn the corner and go to the next side. And actually it might help if you just take these tabs and get them out of your way for a minute until you're ready to do that side. So I think it might be easier for me to just put the glue right here on the back side of that frame, and then we'll bring that tab over and line it up and give it a good press there on the corner. And then I'm just gonna lay it down on the table and get my finger in there, or my bone folder, and just push down really good on that glue tab. Make sure it's glued down really well. And then we're just gonna move around to the next side. That's coming loose right there. Okay, just reach down in there again and get that glued down. Okay, now we're ready to glue this tab here at the corner. We'll put a little glue right there and just glue that down. We'll hold that really well, make sure we get our corner glued nicely and let that dry. And then the last side, the last thing to do is just put some glue on this last side of glue tabs. It's a little tricky. Tuck those underneath there. You might even consider leaving this last face frame off until the very end and just gluing all the layers together. That might work even better. But this is going to work just fine if you've got it done this way. So just make sure everything lines up, and then go ahead and put a little glue under there. And then push that down and hold it. And continue all the way around until you have all the sides glued down neatly. Oops, I got a little glue there. One thing I really like about this glue bottle is it's got such a fine tip on it. I'm able to get it in between those layers to add more glue if I need to. And don't worry too much about this face frame if it gets a little glue on it, because we're going to be covering it again here in a minute with our vellum and acetate, and then we have another clean face frame to put on top. This is really truly just to help us get everything formed, get our frame formed properly, and then that last covering panel will really cover everything up neatly. This one's having trouble dipping down too far, so I'm going to pull it up and then try and get it to have a better surface area to touch. Okay. Oh, this one here is slid out just a little, so I need to loosen that up. So you can see these are just a little tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it will go together really nicely for you. Okay, so we're just going to hold that and make sure everything's glued down really nicely. And once we're done with that, I'll show you how to put in the inserts and put on the vellum and the acetate. Okay, now that our face frame and our basic frame is put together, I'm going to go ahead and set that aside for a minute, and we are going to figure out how to put the inserts in. So you need to kind of decide which order you want your images in. I designed this one to have the palm trees in front and the ship in the back. And actually, let me take a closer look at this here. We're going to do the ship over here, and I actually want the 2 palm trees over on this side. You can decide which way you like it, but I feel like it's a little heavy over here, so I'm going to put the 2 palm trees on this side. And then you need to decide which way to fold these side glue tabs. So I have designed them to all fold back. So just go ahead and fold those 4 glue tabs on the ship towards the back. And if this is the way our palm trees are going to go, we need to fold those towards the back as well. So go ahead and use your bone folder and get a nice crease on those. Folding them towards the back will make it where you don't see these glue tabs from the front of the frame, the front of the light box. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put those right there. And then the other pieces are the vellum and the acetate and the other frames. So you want to look at your frame and decide which one you want to be the front of your frame, probably the best looking side. So I'm going to choose this for the front. Again, don't worry too much about these frames right now because we're going to cover them up at the very end with these last 2. But so go ahead and turn your project to the back side, and we're going to take that sailboat and we're going to basically glue it where it's flush with the back of the frame. So those glue tabs are going to literally touch the back of the frame here. So just so you kind of know the idea, and we have glue on these 3 tabs. Now you could go ahead and put the glue on the tabs, or you can go ahead and put the glue in the frame, and I'm just going to go ahead and put the glue right here in the frame. No more than about 1/4 inch, and you only need it on 3 sides. So I'm going to go ahead and just slide my little insert in from the front of the frame and down to flush with the table and the back of the frame and onto those glue tabs. Now you're going to need to put some good pressure on that and glue those down. So you can see how the glue tab is flush here with the back of the project. And I've spaced that where it'll be a nice even spacing for you. So once you have that one in, we're going to do the exact same thing with the palm trees. We're just going to let that go flush with the front of the last little tab. So I'm going to, again, we only have those glue tabs on 3 sides. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bead of glue on my frame, right where that glue tab is going to fall. And we'll just slide that right in. And just make sure that doesn't slide under the last glue tab. You see how neat that looks from the front here? You don't see any of those glue tabs on the front of the project. Okay, so now we're ready to close up the project. So on the front of the project, we're going to put this clear acetate, just close it off like a light box. You could leave it open if you want, but I've provided this piece for you so that you can just close that off. And if you'll notice, the size of it is just slightly smaller than the frame. So go ahead and just, whoops, that's a lot of glue. Go ahead and put a little glue and bead all the way around the front of that frame. I've got kind of a lot of glue there, so I'm going to spread that over here. And I'm just spreading that glue out just a little so I can put my acetate right on there. Ooh. And it will stick. You'll want that to be nice and tight so that it doesn't have any wrinkles or bubbles in it. Just smooth that out before your glue dries. Try not to get any on your front of your frame, and I accidentally did, so I'm going to need to wipe that off. I had some on my fingers, so I'm going to wipe that off. I might need to do a little bit better job here in a little bit, but that glue will come right off of there. Okay, so now we have the front closed off, and we can put the face frame on top here in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put the vellum on the back though. So with the vellum on the back, it's going to make a really pretty effect when you put it up to a window or to a little tea light. Okay. You can get vellum at your local craft and hobby store. And this sheet is a 6 by 8, so you'll be able to fit this on an 8.5 by 11. A lot of times it's sold in 8.5 by 11 sheets, so you might not be able to find it in a 12 by 12 sheet size. And again, just make sure that's nice and smooth so you don't have any gaps or buckles before your glue dries. Okay, so now you can see it's closed off on the front and the back. And now we just are going to put on our final little face frames to clean up our project and hide all those raw edges. So I'm going to just put a little bead of glue. Oops, I've got a hair there. All the way around. I'm using this Tombow Mono Liquid Glue. I think this works really well with the acetate and the vellum, so that's why I kind of switched over from my basic paper glue. Oh my goodness, I have a hair, I gotta get rid of it. Okay, and this is your final piece, so make sure it lines up right where you want it and it hides all those edges. And then flip that over and we'll do the same thing on the back. Okay, so there's our cute little project. And just to kind of give you an idea, you can put this on a shelf and put a little tea light behind it, or you could put it in front of a window. It's kind of hard to see that probably in this lighting, but a tea light behind it helps it glow and show the cool design. Or you can, like I said, put it in front of a window and it will show off the pattern from the backside. In fact, I have a little light board here that will kind of show you what I'm talking about. That would be kind of like a window effect or a tea light effect. So I hope you enjoy putting together these cool little light boxes, and I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.